So why did you choose to use a video to relaunch?
Because I thought it would be funny and I thought it would be indifferent, and because we could. Because none of us are minted, but we're not like super skinned, but like we've actually got people around us now that we've met over the years that we actually trust, which we didn't have before. You know, we've made mates with like photographers and made mates with videographers. Looked at the camera then. So it's like, you know, it's best to utilise them, innit?
You've been interested in like films and video, haven't you, since I've known you?
Yeah.
Had you had this idea like written, or was you just like?
No, but I
you
just thought it would be for, like, you know, just to symbolise that like the old thing is like quote unquote dead. You know what I mean? I was like, it's not a very deep metaphor. I was like, oh, let's actually kill us then, like, you know what I mean?
I think it's also a nice change for us because it's not something we ever would have done.
Yeah.
As Brighttown,
Yeah.
but in the new format, it's just, you know, symbolic of change in a weird way. That this is a new creative angle we're going through.
And you know, we did all right. I remember like the first times we do photo shoots and like, well, not much better now, like, but you know, we're like everyone looks serious and then we all go. Like, you know,
let's hold Jay like a fish.
Yeah. So, you know, we're getting better at doing it.
Yeah, I reckon the number 2 topic that we talk about is films and TV.
Yeah.
And I like it. Obviously shapes how we write music and
as well. Yeah, and it's like, you know, you see it looks like films that we would, you know, everyone said it was like a Tarantino style thing, and then when we were editing it and we dressed up, I know we didn't end up going down it, but we kind of wanted it to be like a Leon the Professional type. So it's, you know, it's just stuff that we, and then you doing like the surf guitar little music for it and stuff. It was.
Oh yeah, because I forgot about that. We actually, well, I say we, you two, did the music for it as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we got together and
we can do it all.
surfing in stereo.
Surfing in stereo.
Shout out to the
Logan on the drums, lads.
No, it's just like, you know, we deal mostly in music, but it doesn't mean we don't have an appreciation for other art forms.
Yeah.
Especially low art forms like Tarantino films. Don't be expecting a dance
Leon
off us
the
anytime
Black
soon.
Artist.
Yeah. No, it does like play into your personality because, you know, I don't think there's a single film I've ever named where you haven't immediately come back with, oh yeah, that came out in 1962 and starred Jim Jones,
the
main character.
As a child,
main character's like your knowledge on films is probably the best I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So it's not like that much of a compliment. I know. There's a bit of an insult. But, you know, it just shows like your personality that you then wanted to take it in the direction of let's do something different, a new film.
I always felt like there was a bit of a disconnect between how serious we presented as the old band versus how
100%.
very unserious we are as people. So the idea is that when people would meet us, they'd expect like 4, 5, like
well put together,
really like
men.
well, straight laced.
But again, I think that's the thing of like
freaks.
I think that's what, like, when because we were so like hell bent on like, oh, this has got to happen now and this has got to, we've got to take it, you know what I mean? And we just like, I have a lot more fun doing this than what we used to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think that goes for all of us.
It's no stress this way.
Do you remember when we rocked up to a photo shoot where I won't name names who it was who said this, but they were like, oh, you look like a Marks and Spencer's catalogue, and we were all just like, oh shit. Like,
but that wasn't the vibe, you know, that wasn't what we were going for, so we like totally missed the mark somehow from what we were going for, and ended up with
we were just like, oh, right.
I still can't get it. That time your mate come, the lad that you knew, that was like an industry kind of big wig. You were like, oh, he's coming, he's going to give us advice. He was like, you need to dress different, and I was like looking at him, and
he's probably right though, weren't he?
He probably was, but lads, he had like, he was rocking the jeans and shoe. he was, and I just looked at his feet, and I'm like, oh, shut up.
Oh,
yeah,
like pull-up jeans and shoe,
like a short sleeve check. Your dad on holiday. Your dad had a function shirt. It was awful. Yeah.
That jean and shoe.
He wasn't trying to start a band, like, but yeah.
People watching this must know what jean and shoe is.
Jean and shoe, yeah.
We'll have to
follow it on Instagram if you don't know what it is.
We'll have to crop a picture of jean and shoe.
Insert here.
Yeah. I don't like sentimental you know, like, oh, we've had such a lovely time and we're really proud of everything that we did, but we're moving on to greener pastures. Like, no offense to anyone who does that, but I just thought it would be a funnier way to do something like that.
Yeah.
You know, let's make a little short film.
I think you've got the risk now as well. If you just do a picture, that people are going to miss it, you know, with like the algorithms and that on Instagram. And then people are just like, who's this band?
And also, it's not like we've stopped. You know what I mean? We're just carrying on as a new thing.
But you were saying as well, weren't you, about making it multi-platform, multi-format going forward?
How so?
Like, not just music anymore. Look at us.
Not just music.
Now.
Look at us.
Producing content for any party who wants to watch it.
Like, you've been writing blogs and stuff, haven't you?
Yeah. I think pop music is weird because there's a kind of an unspoken shelf life. Like, if you needed a plumber, you know, one's looking for like a hot young upstart. You know what I'm saying? It's like you want someone. Whereas like music's different. It's like if you get to you're almost expected to kind of hit the nail on the head from day one.
Yeah.
So like when you're growing up like our age and you see like the like off the top of my head, like you see like the Arctic Monkeys smash it at the age of like 18. There's kind of always a bit of a clock in your head going like, oh, can I do that? You know what I mean? So like I said to you, I had a bit of a breakdown where I was like, because I was writing the bulk of the stuff in the old band, I was like, every time something didn't go our way or someone like a label wasn't interested in the song or like it didn't go down, I was like...
Felt like a personal...
It felt like a personal thing, but I felt like because it wasn't just me riding on it, because it was like the fate of the boys as well, I was like, oh my God. So like, but then I remember telling you about it and being like, I don't know, and you would just take a step back and like, which is the best thing to do, just take a step back and chill out, because you can't beat yourself up that much. So I did. We didn't do much last year. I come away from the socials and just started like trying to fall back in love with the creative process without having to be like, this has got to bang, or this has got to appeal to this person, or this has got to catch like this label's eye. It was just like, let's just, you know. And two things could have happened. I could have sat down and started doing it and being like, I hate this, I want to be a plumber. Or I could have been like, oh, I actually really love doing this.
Hot young plumber.
Hot young plumber. Yeah.
You needed a little step away from it.
Yeah.
I think the writing was a big shift in mentality for everyone, because everyone, I think within the space of like 6 weeks, everyone came in with a tune.
Yeah, and compared to, obviously, since I joined the first, 18 months, I think we wrote collectively one song.
Yeah.
And then, the past 12 months were way into double digits of songs, so it's been quite a good reset, taking some of the load off you.
But even that's probably my fault, because the way I started doing it was, you know, like it's fun to sit in my room and do a big like fully fleshed out production on my own and try. But it's like, I think it's a bit like egotistical of me. I think I've like, not that I ever not had faith in you, but I think it's just nice to just have a bit like be like, I don't need to flesh this out anymore. I can just give you the bare bones of the song. Like it's lightning quick at the minute.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I suppose some of it comes from when you're growing up and you've got loads and loads of time. You're sat in front of Logic or whatever.
That is true as well. Yeah.
And you've got time to flesh out, and you learn the craft of like how to write a bass part, how to write two guitar parts that fit together, and you kind of just get into that rhythm of doing it, because I'm guilty of it as well. Yeah. But knowing that you've got, I think now knowing that there are 4 people that I can trust with taking me song.
Say it's 3.5.
Who can go ahead with it and make something really good.
Just like, I wanted this, when we were speaking then about like how you've liked films and that, and we've always been into films and talking about films. I remember when we lived together, going up to your room once and like knocking on to see what you were doing. And you were just like in your PJs stoned, and I was like,
could have gone one or two ways, you know?
I was like, what are you doing, Tom? And he was like, I'm just animating like a video of the boys, and it was actually sick. Like it was like a little animated music video. So
you never saw it. It wasn't just an excuse.
And it's fair, like going back to the days of when you lived together at uni, the amount of times I was around there, and you know, sat in the living room, and one of whoever was living there would put on a music video, not to show me a song. It would be get on how boss this video is.
Yeah, because that like
Like
you know,
the Goche, what's the name of that song?
oh yeah, the
State of the Art.
State of the Art,
Yeah.
and everyone was just fascinated with. I mean, it's a boss song in itself, but just the video, the visuals going along that song, and everyone's more hyped off that than
But
the
as well,
actual
it's like
music.
it's not even just like it's not even just for us. Like there's a whole city out there of like visually creative people who want bands to do like visual. You know what I mean? It's not like we're like begging them to do. You know what I mean? People like to make music videos and to shoot bands and to so it's just like, well, if people are up for doing that, well then let's work together and let's.
Because there's a lot of discussion now, isn't there? People are saying the music video is dead, but that was always the way I found music. Was like, oh, get on this music video.
Yeah,
like
and
putting
if you
it on.
watch like if you
Getting
ever
home
watched,
from
like,
school and what putting the box on, and just see what
if you ever
videos
watched like
come
an
up.
old like 2005 like pop music video,
The green screen videos.
Yeah, that you thought because it
Oh,
looked boss on
that's
like
so
the
hype.
CRTV in like in the barbershop in the corner, but like when you watch it on YouTube, it's like this is awful. Just,
Lead singer of a slightly gothic band flying through the
Yeah,
desert with flames.
There's a
coming
really
up around
bad
them.
Ronan Keating one.
Yeah,
Terrible music video, but like that's just what sticks out. Like
all like the new metal ones, but they're all in the same like cracked arid landscape desert.
Yeah.
have you seen the one for that Creed tune, One Last Breath or whatever it is? It's
No.
awful. Awful.
I did realise Higher is going to end up on my Spotify Wrapped. I know it is because I'm listening to
it's
it.
a great song.
Ironically, it's like
Yeah, so obviously people know us as Brighton, but I feel like we've been as a band as credits for like probably the best part of 2 years now.
yeah, probably.
Living a
that.
double life for the boys.
So what's been your favourite part? What's all your favourite bits of like the past 2 years?
It started in Norway, didn't it?
Definitely.
That was like the first time in a while I just felt like, oh, it's just like, you know, like the lads having fun. I'm playing in a band. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like a job.
Yeah.
Duffy was fresh on the scene as
Yeah.
well then.
Fresh on the scene.
First.
It was a good offer. That
Treated
way.
to
It was
a European tour.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I
I
think
you
you'd
learn
done
these
one.
8 songs and then come to Norway with us.
Yeah, I think you'd done one gig before that.
Yeah, never played the bass, done one gig, and it's like, right, boys, let's go Norway.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just fly
You
off
would've
to the
fucking
Arctic
hot out in the
Circle.
office the weekend after that.
Play gigs. I think so. Yeah, I mean, that's probably in everyone's where it started for everyone. I think.
Yeah.
For me, the best part over past 18 months has been obviously me being new to the band, never been in music before. It's like the whole element of going to studios for the first time. It's like, from like the outside looking in, no news for ages. It's like, oh, he's going to studio recording. That must be boss. What happened to the studio? I mean, in reality, like a lot of it's sitting around on a couch waiting for your turn to go. But, being able to experience that, seeing how songs were actually put together, because I think, for people who are watching as well, you never really think about the effort which goes into a tune and, how many takes it can take to get things right. But being able to experience that for the first time in the past couple of years has just been really enjoyable. Getting to use Working Magic, just play it along open for the best. Yeah.
I think JB was a good fit.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah.
JB.
JB at
from Buffalo Studios.
Buffalo Studios.
Yeah,
Sexy Frenchman.
sexy French man.
Yeah.
Sexual.
Sexual. Because he's like, he does exactly what you want him to. He can't. He asks you what you want and then tailors the sound for what you're looking for. It's not like he's just got like a. Sure, he has a way of doing things, but he doesn't try and paint your music. Like he doesn't try and tar it with his brush. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find a suitable metaphor there, but like he just, and as well because we've been around the block a little bit. There's like a dialogue in this, you know what I mean? When we're looking for sounds, it's like he'll suggest something and we'll go, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe try this. And then likewise, or he'll go, it's been a
I
better way of
think
working.
that the way he commits to a sound really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing with the tape echo on
I
the
was just
bass.
thinking of that, yeah.
I said to him that because I went
Beautiful.
back into Coastal with him the other week to do a bit of mixing to finish it off, and he was like asking, he was like, how was the tracks? And it's true. It's like just pulling up. It's like it's
Raw product.
pulling up the raw stem.
Yeah.
It's partly like how good he is, and partly just how nice the studio is and how good the room is. But it's like you just pulled the stems up in Pro Tools, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like didn't really.
What song was that, Matt, that you were talking about then?
With the
With
bass.
the tape
Linger.
echo?
That was
Linger,
Linger.
yeah.
Linger on. Yeah.
I think with JB as well, like kind of going back to what Matt said before about, people think we're really serious. In reality, we're just, 5 idiots who get together and play music. Not saying JB's an idiot, but his attitude to things, and we spend the entire time laughing with him every time when we've been with him. The way he approaches things, he's also, kind of laid back, likes to have fun with it. I think when you're working with someone else who clearly enjoys something that they're doing as much as he does, brings a bit of fun to the table. It kind of just helps you get in, the right vibe for the session that you're recording.
Definitely.
I think it's the first time we've ever gone away to like a
an away day.
Yeah, I think the fact that I was in the middle of like nowhere helped, because it's like, sometimes you can just nip out to town, can't you? And just like, whereas we would just go and get a chip butty from that scatty shop around the corner.
It was in Castleford, was it?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Castleford, which is a little town or village in Yorkshire.
Would be processed barley.
Smells like burnt toast.
It does.
Smells like burnt toast.
Yeah. Is it a barley factory?
I thought it was like sweets, like Haribo.
No, it smells like when you make factory. When you bake, like when you have them like pan au chocolate that you like put in the oven and you half bake.
Yes, Tom baking pastries again.
That's what I do. I would know that. Yeah.
So you think it was like
I think it was a
fast food pastry?
No, I don't think it was. I think
Or
it
were
was
you just trying to will in the pastry to existence?
That was just like pastry senses with
too far away from the nearest Greg's.
Yeah.
I think it forces you to set time aside, doesn't it? Because I think like we're quite lucky we've always had studios in Liverpool, but I think you don't really you wouldn't book time off work or
the fact
take
that we
much
went
time out of your day, would you? Just,
I think whenever we've been to the studio before as well, it's always been like go in there and you've got 2 days to do like 3 or 4 tracks, and it's just very intense. Whereas like we were still on a time schedule there, but there was a bit more time to feel things out a bit more and spend time on a sound and just enjoy being there, because you've got we were staying there and you've got a few days there and that.
Which is another thing, because when we've done it in the past, we've always done like put a mad shift in recording like an EP. And then like it's out, and then you're like got to start the whole the whole writing, getting together and packing it together, like going back and editing it, and then going into the studio, and then doing all the post production. It's like it's a long process. So
it did used to feel like it was like, so once you come up one side of it, you're back at square one.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that anymore.
It's nice to have a big juicy pile that we're sitting on.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good in more ways than one, unfortunately. Yeah.
I think there was an unspoken at first feeling that we all felt that Bright Town, as we knew it, kind of had run its course.
Yeah.
And then it was only once we sort of all went, "Do you feel the same way that I feel?"
Yeah.
It's just
that
waiting
we
for
kind of
one
brought
person
it
to
up.
speak
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without wanting to like rock the boat too hard.
How would you feel about a threesome? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now you mentioned it.
Well, no, about 6 months after I joined, there was little whispers round the cracker room of different bands over the years who've done name changes, worked out well for them, gone a different direction. Collectively, without speaking to each other, all decided to not do that for another 8 months. I think it's because
a year.
Not that we didn't want to do it. I think we just needed to get things in place before we decided to do it. At that point, if we'd have done a rebrand at that point, changed the band, we've got no new songs, what are we going to do? It's just going to be same band, different name. And then, over the past 18 months, put together new songs, which I think it's quite obvious. They sound a bit different to the Bright Town songs, and it's getting all that in place over the past 18 months. To now, it's kind of in a place where we've got everything ready. We're all ready to, crack on, do music again, get back out gigging. We've all got the enjoyment for it again. Which feels like now's kind of, I don't want to say perfect, but the perfect time to do it.
I think there's a lot of like sentiment as well, because it was like the first, I'd been in other bands obviously growing up and stuff, but the first like proper band where it felt like it was going well and we were getting like the right kind of attention, and I was really enjoying the songs we were making. So when it was like coming to have the conversation about, we need to let this go now, it was like, But I think one of the things that swayed me was when we met with Joe and someone floated it by him, and immediately he was like, I think that's the right thing to do. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, because I was originally a bit skeptical about changing the name, because it like you're saying, like a nostalgic thing. It feels like you're starting again. Do you know what I mean? You're throwing everything away. But obviously we are doing that. But like, that conversation that we were on about then happened nearly a year ago to where we are now. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like this has been a random decision.
A rash decision. It's a well thought out plan.
Yeah, I think when we met with Joe was like maybe April last year. It's like a year of just getting our heads together and putting the work in.
I've just had a proper Freudian breakthrough on camera then. It ties back to the other thing we talked about the video. In the old days, because I'm dead snobby and all that, didn't like the idea of making like content outside of music, because it was like, I'm a music purist and I just... And I think that was one of the things that kind of defined, which all we ever did was we would just like put pictures up of us like that we got like photographers to take and announce gigs, and there was no like real, like I said, there was no kind of fun stuff happening. I have like the Bright Town Insta, and like 90% of what we follow is either just like, it's like a creative people, but it's like mostly musicians, so the whole feed is just like non-stop stuff, and it gets a bit like tiring just being like having no break and just seeing all that. And it would be like mostly the same type of video and the same sort of stuff. And it kind of made me feel a little bit jaded about it. I was going like, oh, well, everyone does that kind of stuff. And it's a bit like, but that's probably because I just wasn't looking in the right places. Like meeting with Tom from Novelty Island, like the stuff that he does, we've been a fan of his music for years. But just seeing stuff like that, and I'm not saying what we do is anywhere near as wacky as what he does, but just it's like, it is inspirational to see that you can make the fucking horrible C word content that isn't just like, you know, run-of-the-mill shite, basically. Like,
you can play the game, but do it your way.
Like, I think when you're in a band or a musician, obviously you meet a lot of other musicians and other people in bands. Your Instagram just becomes an echo chamber of other musicians who are like trying to all do the same thing. But I think in actuality, most people would follow like a couple or a handful of their favourite musicians or whatever. So like in practice, most people's Instagrams don't look like that.
It's like a sea of noise, and then you just hear something and you go, oh, that's actually caught me ear and caught me eye. So I think it's good when that happens.
It's kind of like the same way I felt first time I seen Jesse Wells on Instagram.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Like, there's a lot of musicians, and it's no disrespect to any musician. You know, you see a lot of videos them singing, playing a guitar, and there's never too many things different about them. And then scrolling through, and you just see Jesse Wells stood in a cornfield in the middle of nowhere.
Think about him, that's how quick his turnaround is, because he writes like topical songs about stuff that's happened
songs.
Like 2 days ago, and he's written.
He's gonna slip up one time.
The best song you've ever
and release something a day before.
Like the whole thing of Simpsons predicting the future. Jesse Wells knows what's happening. So say he wrote that song about Boeing, essentially calling the owners of Boeing assassins for killing everyone. It's like he come up with that song in probably about 5 minutes straight away, gets out to a cornfield in like the middle of Nebraska, videos himself, can't really hear his guitar
it's a green screen.
It's all a green screen.
He's definitely got a sports almanac in
there. It just stands out as being a bit different. It's you're scrolling through and all of a sudden someone's writing a song called a Boeing terrorist. It's like that stands out. I think the first video releasing his credits as the band, I think without playing us up too much, will stand out from a lot of the views, because it is a little bit wacky. It is a little bit different to what you tend to see. Similar to him though, you get the impression, I think he's got like 1 or 2 songs on Spotify last time I checked anyway, but when you go on his Instagram, he's got like 300 songs on there. There'd be so many. So I think kind of a similar position to that now, where we've got like all these tunes that we've got, and we've got like a foundation of content and stuff that we want to put out, but just because of the state of the music industry or whatever at the minute, you kind of having to like put them out more slowly.
I don't know if it's like just smartphones or COVID or what, or like the shift in everything, but that's just the way it is now. It's mad growing up thinking like, oh, like being a musician is being like Jimi Hendrix or whatever, and then there's a massive like culture shift in the way like media is like literally like the first iPhone come out in like 2008, so it was like when we were like 10. Yeah. And then probably didn't get like adopted properly for like a few, no one really had one.
It didn't have internet.
No, but like, so it's like you grow up thinking it's going to be one thing, and then by the time you reach the point where you're going to do it, the landscape's completely different, and it's
I imagine that's the way people felt about MTV.
No, I know, but it's so quick now. Even Instagram, like Instagram. If you go back and like look at someone's Instagram from like
2 years ago,
it's completely different to what it's like now.
Constantly having to like adapt and shift what you're doing as a musician.
I remember being in the studio with Paul, and because I think we were talking about the Waterboys, and I think he said something like, I think he said the budget for tape, I don't know how fucking true this is, but I think he said the budget for tape alone was $250,000.
Try and get 200 quid off a label now.
I know. But at the same time, the flip side is you don't really need it now because everyone's
Yeah.
got a recording studio in the pocket. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the landscape from like the 80s, 90s is just completely different. And obviously growing up, like you were saying, thinking being a musician meant you were Jimi Hendrix.
you just crack on. Yeah.
You were just a musician, and it happened if you were good or whatever.
Going back, 15 years ago, I think the dream for every musician was, I'm going to, form a band with my mates, I'm going to write some songs, going to play gigs, I'm going to get signed to a label, and then I'm done. Like, I've made it. I'm signed to a label, I can do what I want, I'm going to be touring around, and the reality is it's just not the case.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually mean anything
Yeah.
if you're signed to a label.
I think the flip side of it as well is like, it's now becoming like more feasible than ever to do it without a label.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It's once you realise you don't need it, and we've all felt it, it's like empowering where you go, well, once, because we've seen inside the record label sausage and it's just gristle and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, we can, we're all switched on, we can all do it ourselves. And then if not, we've been around enough where we know the likes of like photographers and we know people that we could,
You've got big acts like who was it James
Brown.
James Brown is
that little known act, James Brown.
Does it all himself on TikTok, lads.
big artist anyway. I can't remember.
James Arthur.
No, someone
in Liverpool.
Someone good.
Someone decent.
James
Blake.
James Blake, yeah.
Massive act for years.
Yeah.
And he's come out and he's like, I've left my label and I'm setting up like my own team to just do everything that a label would do. And he's like, you just don't need it.
Yeah, but
anymore.
listen to his music, like other than stuff that he does with like people he gets on to collaborate, like at least I'd imagine there's no one telling him what to do. That's just him making like boss tune on a computer, you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's like loads of bands that I've discovered through Instagram and stuff like that, and like loved the music, and then when I've looked up about them, it's just a bedroom project. Do you know what I mean? And it's just them doing their thing, and they've just managed to crack the code, like.
Yeah. And it's, I think, historically, to record an album, you have to be signed to a label pumps £2 million into your project, you go out to California, sit in a studio for 2 weeks and write it. Talking from our band, we're quite comfortable enough, we could just get to our practice room, sit there for a day, record our songs, we can, mix it to decent levels there, and you basically got the premise of it over there. You don't actually need the funding from labels to go out and do these things. Obviously, you need to have the time, you need to have, a laptop to record things.
Time and resources,
It's a lot easier to kind of do things on your own now, which is, I think there's a lot of artists out there which do it on their own now. There's not really that much of a necessity for labels.
Bon Iver famously made
I hate the fact that's how you pronounce it, by the way, not you. I hate the fact that that's how you pronounce it.
Bon Iver.
Bon Iver.
Is it Bon Iver?
Yeah, his name's John Bon Iver, lad, yeah.
Sure.
Cousin of John Bon Jovi. No, it is Bon Iver. I just hate the fact that it's blatantly Iver.
So Bon Iver
Nice one.
did his debut on a SM57 going into
In a shed or something?
a Focusrite in a shed,
Imagine what the Beatles could have done with a Focusrite on a laptop.
and an Akai MPK mini keyboard.
Making Dilla beats.
Made the most of it though, haven't we? Like the songs that are going to be coming out, hopefully they don't sound like it, but we've kind of cobbled them together over various years and months in different rooms, different studios. And it's pretty much just been like what we could get our hands on for the most part. A lot of it's been like free, just like scrounging for studio time.
Borrowing amps, borrowing guitars, doing whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's ways to do it without a label.
But as well, like I'm not being funny. We've got the five of us, and then we've got the people that we choose to work with. We clearly trust their judgment, and I trust all of your judgments as well. So it's like that's more than enough. Like
Fingers in the pie.
Yeah.
No
one's gonna give as much of a shit about your thing as you do.
Yeah.
So unless you are 100% committed that the other person's got like some stake in it, then don't do it, because no one's gonna chase down emails and arrange gigs and like network for you and even that like make creative decisions about like what should happen in a song or like run an order of. No one's gonna do that other than because they don't give a shit. They just want like a quick return on
Even outside of labels, like you mentioned there about tours, and we were in talks with someone who, I don't want to say promised us the world, but promised us
a tour.
decent UK tour, and then turns out like a week before the tour starts, the first gig is cancelled, and there's kind of nothing to do about it. The tour's over.
One of the bands was a picture from the back of a cereal box.
And obviously
we're playing the Snap, Crackle and Pop Festival.
Obviously not everyone's like that. I think in a
Scholastic book fair.
We got paid in bendy rulers.
I think we have been unlucky at times with things like that happen. But and it's not to diss everyone in music, because there is some very good people out there. There's good booking agents within the city who really care about music.
Yeah, but you can tell,
yeah. And the people that we're planning on working with as credits, they're not promising the world and under delivering, but you can clearly tell their heart's in it. They care about music, and it's it's trying to find the people in the industry who have that mindset, who care about it. You want to work with them, they want to work with you, and it all comes together 100%. Nicely.
I think it's a symptom of having a really healthy and creative scene.
Yeah.
If there's hundreds of young people who are in bands making music, there's going to be 100 more scumbags.
Yeah, people who used to referee when we play footy at school. Yeah, that's all they are. Like, they're just fucking referees.
I used to be the ball.
Just prefects walking the metaphorical halls of music. That's what it is.
Yeah, maybe it's an uncomfortable truth of being in a great place to be a musician. Really, yeah.
I like one of the things I was most unsatisfied with myself over the past few years, just not putting the time aside to go to gigs, just because I've been that I gig for a living, and so it's if something comes up on a Friday night, it's look at the draw whether or not I'll go. But it's
but also it's we're getting, depending on when this comes out, forgotten the date, but Father John Misty doing a solo set
in the
Jack
around the Baltic.
An album launch in the Jack.
Depending on when this is coming out, you might want to say that again in Russian in case we get fucking taken over.
Yeah.
До свидания.
I wouldn't where you going with that.
Yeah, but it's just the caliber of things seems to be stepping up, doesn't it? There wouldn't be the people trying to take advantage if it was shit, basically.
No. Yeah, if there was nothing there to take advantage of.
Yeah.
It is definitely on the up there. I mean, you have to go back a couple of years ago when, everywhere was closing down, lost a lot of venues in the city. And now you're looking, you've got Arts Bar Baltic open up, you've got Rough Trade, people flying in. We went to see White Denim, who are, massive bands in their own right, just playing, essentially off a side street in Liverpool. The scene is definitely growing. Bigger artists coming in.
Yeah.
In the Baltic.
If you had told us all this in 2018, 2019, it would have seemed mad. Do you know what I mean?
Biggest one though, Dizzy Rascal came and played at Arts Bar Baltic. Yeah.
Because even before COVID, it was
they were all
shut, weren't they? So it was was looking dire for a little bit. But
there's been a lot of closures, but at the same time, it does seem like things are on the up.
Yeah,
things are changing.
So Writing Boys, obviously, by the time this comes out, will officially be rebranded as Credits, and we've got quite a few things coming up in the not too distant future. What's everyone looking forward to most?
Big gig that I can't really talk about yet.
The big one that we can't talk about.
The big one that we can't talk about.
It's what you're looking forward to. The big one we can't talk about.
Yeah, that one.
So obviously Matt's hinting there. We've got a couple of gigs that we're hopefully going to be supporting some great acts on. Got a headline gig that we're going to have coming up as well, which we're all excited. We're all really excited to do. We're going to have some really good supports on.
We've got a mad support lineup for that. I don't know why we've got that lineup, but we've got a boss support lineup for that.
So there's a few nice things coming our way.
I think that what I'm looking forward to is not living like Peter Parker anymore.
Explain yourself, Matthew.
Do you know what I mean? So when it's been a bit like if I talk to people and they go like, "Oh, how's the band going?" You go, "Yeah. Can't really show you or talk to you about anything we've done in the last year, because none of it exists yet." And I don't really want to come across like gobshite.
That's what happened to Peter Parker when they'd be like, "How's the whole Spider-Man thing going?"
Can't talk about it.
I'd be like, "Peter, what did you do at the weekend?" And he's like,
just fought Green Goblin, but
just chilled.
Hot dog, lads.
Chilling in ours, really.
Pizza.
But I don't mean, because going out with mates, and I haven't seen them in a couple of months, and they inevitably ask, "Oh, how's the band going?" It's like, yeah, we're doing all right, just working on a few things. Like, "Oh, when's your next gig?" can't really say. Well, he's doing gigs. Yeah, we are going to be doing gigs, but you know.
Yeah, I think people just think we just like go to the cracking room and play Dance Dance Revolution for 4 hours.
I'm excited for when people ask what the band's called to not be like Brighton and they're like Brighton,
Brightside,
Mr. Brightside,
and then
Mr. Brightside.
you know as well. Gives your phone. I'll type it on Instagram for you.
Yeah.
Taxi drivers going, you what?
Swearing. So credits will be hopefully a bit more roll off the tongue a bit better.
Yeah. Hopefully a bit more of like a brand for the band in a sense.
That Crescents.
I think that one of the things that kind of annoys me, or not irritates me, is big things coming soon.
Watch this space.
Big things coming soon. It makes me want to.
But there actually is.
Bad Toby.
And it's nice to actually have big things coming soon.
Yeah.
And be able to back that up with.
And very soon.
Very soon.
Yeah, not long
Very,
after
very
this comes out, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just think we're in a good creative space at the minute. All the songs are working. All the new songs are working.
I think having the system in place to plan things out really far and ahead. And I don't know whether we've just got onto it really late and everyone else has been doing it this whole time. But planning out, taking the everyday thought out of the bits that we don't really, I'm not going to say don't enjoy doing, but the bits that we find a bit more mentally taxing, like posting on Instagram.
Yeah.
Putting a system in place where we kind of have a vague plan of what we're doing means that there's more mental capacity to
it's I think the one thing I'm looking forward to is it's gonna be nice, you know, especially more so over the past 18 months. Got together in the practice room, done a gig, and then our next gig is in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
And there's no real like getting into it, getting on with things. But I think now, new band, new name, loads of gigs lined up, got stuff planned for, you know, the next couple of months, and we're going to keep adding onto that as we go forward throughout the year. Hopefully look towards festivals in the summer. If people are liking the new songs, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to come down and see us and hopefully show you support if you're into it. If you're not, fair enough, don't come. But, you know, we'd like you to be there.
Don't say that. I'm excited to play them for people and to get them out there for people to learn the words and stuff. And
that's it. A lot of songs we've not really played live.
Yeah,
we've done them 1 or 2 gigs, thrown a new song into the old set just to
test the
see
waters
how it goes down.
Yeah,
it's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
We've got enough now that there's like various sets of just boss tunes.
Cater to all your party needs at the moment.
Bend the rulers.